Season 1, Jeff, Barracuda, and the North American Sweethearts bring it home under the banner of Cognitive Pride.
No one thought had a chance at the finals coming into this event. Coming as the number 2 seed. Emily South ripping through. Titan down, falls 3. A double kill for South. It's a 5-man run. They're going to go for the win.
The world champions, Cognitive Pride, GG!
Season 2, we say hello to Europe as Adapting and Epsilon Esports slam it home.
He's a huge play. Adapting's about to go up. He's going to come crashing down. Who's the target? It's going to be all 3, and 2 will get stunned out.
Oh no.
He's taking tons of damage.
Oh no.
Chaos wants to move forward.
They don't have enough time for this. They don't have enough time for this.
No, it's a deicide. Ladies and gentlemen, Epsilon Esports.
Season 3, new name, same roster. 2-time world champions, Rapper and NRG.
Well, there's 4 members left, and into the sky goes Adapting. The ultimate's way down. The Titan is under siege. Energy are looking to be world champions again. Long live the king! And once again, the king is Europe.
Season 4, Polar Bear Mike brings it back for America. E-United slams the hammer.
Cracking and knocked back. There's Deathwalker controlling things. Panic Cat takes that Wlfy. Where's the remainder of the team fight?
Deathwalker falls to Benadu, and E-United keeps on going because Panic Cat
That's 2! Still pushing forward. They're at the Titan. Only 2 members to play defense.
They can't do it!
And that's the game. That's the series. That is your Smite World Championship. Say hello to your North American victors, Polar Bear Mike and E-United.
Season 5, new map, new players, new teams, same destination. Who raises Thor's hammer? The Smite Pro League.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the European edition of the Smite Pro League here today. It's week 5 right now, just have to double check that. Week 5 and the second day of Europe. Let's have a look at the schedule today for you all to see exactly how things are going to happen.
With all the Smite action that's been taking place, I don't blame you
I'm
for
lost.
Everything starting to blur together right now, but definitely not for these teams. All these guys are really just trying to gear up and finalize things in preparation for that World's lead-up event.
Now, obviously, it's Europe all day today, so RivaL and Energy looking to put to bed SK and Mouse yet again, if they can, to make sure they solidify themselves in the standings to try and hit the top 2 spots. It's still a contest over there to try and get to the World Championships. And speaking of the World Championships, if you want to come to hi-rez Expo and see the very top 8 teams of the Smite play on PC, as well as the console teams and Paladins too, get your tickets over at hi-rez Expo.
You're not going to want to miss out on any of the action either. I can guarantee you it's going to be a fun-packed 3-day event for the duration of it. And just in case you do end up missing out, at least you don't have to worry too much because you can always make up for it at that after party.
That's fair. I mean, don't even buy a ticket for hi-rez Expo if you don't want to. You could just go to the after party. That's fine. Like, just fly out for that 1-day event and hang out with everybody in the community who always just likes to have a good time. Things like bowling, laser tag. I've seen all sorts going on there. Pool.
You're also just in the heart of Atlanta in general, so
true.
There's bound to be a lot of stuff to check out, not even just at the after party especially specifically, but also just around the area. Make sure that you head on down to Atlanta because you're going to have a great time.
Last thing to mention as well is the account linking on Mixer right now. If you link your account to Mixer, all the information you can find right on your screen now. Link it up, you'll get yourself the Pro League Bologna and also be able to claim further rewards by just continuing to watch the broadcasts. But now it's on to today, and let's have a look at the standings coming into today of how Europe actually is looking this time round.
And as you can tell, Team Dignitas still leading the pack for Europe at least. 7-1, just 1 set lost to Energy, and that was prior to Energy taking a pretty unforeseen spill to Obey.
Yeah, now Energy and RivaL will play today. RivaL have a chance to get to that 5-win record alongside Obey, but Energy have a chance to put themselves at 6 wins if they can find the victory over Mouse Sports today, who are currently sat on 2. Now, as it stands in Europe, I believe SK and Mouse are almost like guaranteed to be where they're at with how the games have gone so far, 5th and 6th position. But 1 through 4 is still debatable of where everybody ends up.
And Obey, they've got to be Mouse's biggest fans today, because the one thing that they definitely would need to happen, hopefully SKs, yeah, they're definitely keeping SK in mind as well here too, but Mouse can play spoiler. They might not be able to get the auto placement by any stretch of the imagination, but being able to take a game even off of energy, I think, could really cause some bit of a shuffle in the standings.
Well, we'll get over to that later on. First of all, though, let's start off talking a little bit about SK Gaming. Their year so far, Taco, has been a little bit disappointing from themselves. They're not too happy with how things have gone either. What's exactly gone wrong? And, well, they're looking at Worlds, you know, they're going into the placement round guaranteed. What needs to change, and what could be changing today? I
don't think you can really pinpoint one thing in particular that's gone wrong for this team. I think it's just been a non-stop selection of things that have gone wrong for SK. I think their biggest problem by far, though, is just the fact that they struggle so much to close out matches.
Games, yeah.
I think that they can even fare pretty well in the early game. At times, we've also seen them just take set losses from banking too much on the early game with heavy burst compositions and then just having that turned against them, because at a competitive level of play, especially with the level of competition in Europe right now, it's much trickier to get away with that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it felt like sometimes SK have tried to be that sort of defensive team, almost like a rock, alongside the likes of, well, Dignitas and Obey, the ones that like to take the games very late if they can, and then turn it around then. SK have seen situations of that unfold. Against RivaL, though, this is a different story. RivaL, well, a predicament of a year for them. Started off interesting at the start of the year with how spring went and the comebacks there, and then, well, summer performance, a little bit more to be asked from them, and then come to fall, and things just haven't clicked as well as they once did, like last year.
It almost feels like somebody just turned the lights off for RivaL. The team in general, their aura surrounding them, it doesn't seem as easygoing as it used to. I feel as though there's a certain air of stress involved, and I can't tell if that's partially due to the fact that they recognize just how competitive Europe has grown to be as a region, or if it's just maybe RivaL could have potentially hit their peak.
I think the problem with RivaL, though, overall, Taco, has been the fact that, well, when you look back at how their years have gone, this is the first year where people expect things from them. This is the first time that this team is like seen as one of the best teams in Europe, and yet they're not living up to the expectations people expect of them now because the pressure's on. Don't know. We'll have to see.
Feels like a reoccurring theme from Europe, if you ask me, because I think we said the same exact thing about Obey back at the start of the spring split, and now we're here with RivaL in the fall, kind of just wondering where the drop ball came into play at.
Now, RivaL out of it. Let's get into picks and bans, though, as they take on SK Gaming. RivaL clearly in a very good position heading towards the World Championships. Not terrible, disastrous state, but they would have liked to have been higher up in the standings. At the moment, they're really fighting to try and get a top 2 spot, but it's not an easy task. The first task is to get through SK, and SK are going to start things off by banning Erlang Shen.
I don't blame SK in the slightest either for wanting to remove this pick selection from iceicebaby. I think that's who I'm looking towards.
Sure. Do you just not like Erlang Shen too? Is that what it is?
Well, I think that Erlang and Amma, with how much of prevalent choices they are currently, especially over in Europe, don't see any reason to risk letting RivaL have either of those pick selections. It's evident that SK have zero intentions of trying to take those gods for their own usage. Instead, I wouldn't be surprised, maybe a Pele could come through first, or the Athena.
We are in Europe, so Pele is not really seen too much. It's going to be the Agni selection for SK instead, and that's the funny thing in the fall split. Through the year, it seems that NA and Europe kind of, well, copied each other. They were very similar metas, very similar designs to it, yet fall split, we're starting to see the divide again just before the World Championships of gods that are in focus and out of focus in each other regions.
In North America as well, it feels entirely different to Europe for what it's worth, not only in terms of just game links because of their playstyles throughout them, but also just the compositions that they choose to run. I think we see much more aggressive compositions coming from North America than what we do from Europe. A lot of these matches, in fact, are usually determined around the 35-40 minute mark because it'll be farm, and then one big team fight where everything just escalates out of control for one side or the other, and next thing you know, the game's over.
It seems that Europe is just very good at holding on in the games more than anything else and getting to a stalemate situation where it could turn around. Bans coming through again, though, as we got Chernobog, Terra, and Ao Kwang locked in for RivaL. Very early Ao Kwang pick.
It is an early AO pick, but I don't mind it simply because SK revealed the Sylvanas so early on, and Sylvanas is going to be a prime target, I think, for this AO to try and punish and the Terra as well. You've got the Root. Sylvanas, I feel, is going to definitely struggle a little bit here with positioning, because not so much that I don't think SK are capable or incapable of positioning properly with the God. I just think that RivaL are going to have a fairly easy time looking to punish SK for this pick to begin with.
SK's picks at the moment, it screams pressure to me. Jingwei, Sylvanas, more than likely for the dual lane, Agni in mid. That's all about getting lane pressure in those lanes, so we'll see what SK can capitalize on with their jungler then, if the lane pressure is going to be everywhere. Maybe someone that's going to invade a lot could be quite impactful, because if the lane's going to push, as we could potentially expect them to with these comps, then maybe something like a Bakasura, invade some camps maybe, something along those lines.
If SK wanted heavy dual lane pressure, though, I would prefer to see something outside of the Jingwei. Jingwei felt more like a force pick because of the Chernobog, but even the Apollo might have had a little bit better lane clear, and then looking for invades, I also think that it's so beautiful might be better buff confirmation as well in comparison to the persistent gust early on. It's just that Jingwei survivability aspects are a little bit stronger, so I think that's the primary reason why SK ended up electing for that pick.
Arteon, Pele, Sol, and Hercules taken away. RivaL with the next pick, looking for more than likely a solo laner and a mid laner next, unless Chernobog's going to go in the mid lane, which we've seen quite a few times before too.
Wukong, perhaps, for I think that SK have dabbled around with Wukong a little bit. Ducky, at least. I think that SK could definitely benefit off of a Sun Wukong. He's got a lot of interrupt factors and can be really frustrating for an AO to try and deal with, because anytime the Ao Kuang is working on looking for an execute, you always have to worry about the Wukong going into the somersault cloud. And plus, AO loves just looking to focus out solo laners. That's what tends to happen more often than not.
Well, I'm going to stop you on the picks and bans now. We're going to have to reset the picks and bans. Unfortunately, we've not got the correct information on there, so we're going to double check it, and we're going to go again in the picks and bans. Don't know exactly where the technical issue is, but apologies for that. Ignore that whole picks and bans scenario. Ao Kuang may still get played, we don't know. But
I'm still keeping it going in my heart, okay? It was real to me.
That's their dream. You can keep talking about the Sun Wukong, though, all you want, for the most part. But with what we've seen with these two teams, too, it's going to be a very interesting tale, because SK, I feel like SK are wanting to try and take their games longer, and close out games is where they struggle, where RivaL are a team that can play early game, late game. I feel like they're more free-flowing.
RivaL feel like a more reactive team in the fall split. I think that we've seen some really good early games. We see some really good late games from RivaL, but it feels like they're having some struggles with getting the consistency period all throughout, where they have a very smooth early, mid, and late. It does tend to feel like RivaL will struggle at some point with one of those periods throughout a match, and that would be the prime opportunity for SK to look to try and punish RivaL off of.
Okay. Back into picks and bans we go. Erlang Shen definitely is the correct ban this time. Apologies for the issues, but it's okay from RivaL, so we're going to go through this from the beginning once more. Now, taking into account what we saw picked whatsoever, it doesn't really matter, right? Like,
not in the slightest, no, because these are all entirely different. We got the Freya as well, which makes sense. RivaL has been dabbling a little bit in the Freya, and this is what I was waiting for. I was a little bit confused the first time around, but Athena does make sense to be the first pick here for SK. Not only are they stripping the pick away from Kalis, but...
so production just told me that what they were doing is they got Tom and Finch were doing a little draft beforehand and had left the information in there, but it wasn't correct information. That was the issue. That shows you their picks and ban phases and how bad they are. Even SK and RivaL are better than that, so that's good news there. Thanks, boys. RivaL, though, Mercury, Amaterasu. So Amma is going to get picked up here. We've seen so much of her as the season's progressed.
We've seen a lot of the Amma, mostly because of that dual lane pressure that she brings. I think we've had plenty of opportunities to witness how fast the clear can be, and on top of that, lots of mobility, the passive aiding the rest of the team throughout team fights, as well as just chasing. And I like this from RivaL because they are definitely banking on mobility here.
SK, though. SK have gone for the Season 1 El Clasico strat here, which is the Odin Zeus combination. Athena to join them. That's some good CC overall. You go Phantom to try and defend against the Odin ring, but then you need beads to deal with the Athena taunts, and then you want an Aegis to deal with Zeus. You can't have all three.
I'm mostly looking towards the fact that Odin can currently trap every single one of those RivaL members so far, and so I'd imagine that we're going to see an early Phantom rush here, possibly, just so that they don't have to risk anything. This is a really important strip away pick, though, from RivaL. I have no doubt in my mind that SK would have probably been leaning towards the Ho-Yi. Anhur, not going to be a bad backup plan, though.
Yeah, I think the Ho-Yi, though, is a really good answer to Zeus ult. If Zeus ults, then Ho-Yi can ult in response, or just leap out of it if he needs to, too. So it's a bit of a turnaround of fire, so it's not just an area that's dangerous. But that Terra pick at the final for SK, I really like their lineup there. I'm actually, it's a very old-school lineup, I'll say that much.
I love the draft from SK, but I'm not so certain about how they're going to execute it. The big thing for me whenever I see these classic combinations is the fact that you still need your Zeus Odin to be really in sync with each other. And I trust Lawbster, but I don't know how to feel if this is Faeles on the Odin because it's a little bit different to his typical playstyle. We know that Faeles likes to be heavy setup man. That's why he tends to have his best performances on gods like Susano and the Humbats. But Odin, you are playing setup man still. It's just that you have to be a lot more conscious about your positioning and when you choose to initiate because there is very easy opportunities for RivaL, I think, to turn this around onto SK if they don't find the kills within that cage.
Well, you guys watching at home, you get to vote now in Mixer Chat on who you think will win. It's enough from me and Sako, though. It's time to get it to the casters for Game 1 of SK versus RivaL.
Thank you very much, Hindu and Taco. It's Agro and Anatoly with you for SK versus Team RivaL. And you know I'm excited, Toli.
Why is that?
Can you make a guess?
No idea whatsoever. Maybe...
I really like when Deathwalker goes Talon Trinket and Zhong solo.
Okay, that's what it is.
Why do we see the Talon Trinket here for Deathwalker?
Honestly, I think he's just going to look to bully out Ducky to oblivion at this point because there's no threat of a Terra with Guardian's Blessing. It's such a passive solo lane pick to the point where you don't need Warrior's Blessing. What damage is Terra going to be doing to you at the end of the day that you can't heal up anyway? So all that damage is going to be used to try to get Ducky out of here.
Now the problem with that, it can certainly work, but there is concern, I think, when you look at the Odin cages. Lawbster is just dead in the mid lane.
Are you about to get soloed?
Yeah, Lawbster has had trouble with this as of late. Zeus clear, normally pretty good once you hit level 2. Level 1 can struggle, and Wlfy able to take advantage. Not a great beginning.
I think that play in itself speaks just a whole bunch about SK's performance. Not only the fall split, not only the summer split, not only the spring split, but all of Season 5.
Are you really? Oh,
Is that really happening?
Yeah, it's happening.
Unfortunate.
Now this game, very, very important for Team RivaL. You know, SK guaranteed to be near the bottom. They might be able to pass a Mouse if they're able to get a set victory, and Mouse continues to struggle, but overall, you anticipate SK to be in the bottom side, but RivaL really does need this victory, and they're going to look to do it via ganking this duo lane. Great impale from Funball prevents the throw coming from Special Delivery, and as a result, HalfDevil and Funball nice and safe.
Well, either he goes on the Athena and he gets impaled, or he goes on the Anhur and he gets taunted. There weren't many options for iceicebaby unless it was Callus and Vote to start it off first.
Let's take a look at that first blood yet again. Lawbster getting soloed at level 1, and I just want to see how he took so much damage in the first place. He tanked the minions. Yeah, he just walked up and tanked the minions, and that'll do it. There's that's an exciting first blood replay for you. I just needed it for the information more than anything else.
You know what happened also? It was Wlfy going into the circle of the Zeus shield so that he can get hit by Lawbster originally and then have all those archers start hitting him. Even though transition between Season 4 and Season 5 reduced some of that minion damage, a squishy level 1 Zeus is still squishy.
Still going to end up falling in that position as Funball leaps away from Vote. Good pressure from RivaL's duo lane, and that's what Ama brings to the duo lane right now. It's why she's top pick, top ban in Europe and in a lot of cases in North America. It's basically this. It's just getting lane dominance early on.
It's just so difficult to fight into that 10% damage amplification passive, the extra physical power that Vote and Callus is receiving, and Funballer are going to have to use more potions as a result of this. Still sitting pretty as Vote with 3 health potions and 1 multi-pot. He's not going to have to back to base anytime soon.
Vote really does double down on the chance of getting lane pressure here and just having a lot of power, because he actually goes for Trans 2, that charged Morningstar. Not usually what you see on Ho-Yi. A lot of Ho-Yi players still go for the Devourer's Gauntlets. But when you add in the 15 power that you get from Ama's level 1 aura, you're sitting at 35 physical power at level 1, which is a whole lot.
Oh yeah,
to be able to clear the way.
It hurts quite a bit. It doesn't hurt hurts a lot more than what Ducky's damage was about to deal there. And that's the simple reason why Deathwalker goes for the Talon's Trinket start. Hasn't back to base quite yet, as he's trying to do so now. Should be able to finish off that Bancroft's Talon. We'll see how that plays out, because I'm curious myself.
That Odin selection is going to shut down all the lifesteal.
That's true.
In that coming from Bancroft's Talon. However, I think it is worth noting that there is a second part of Bancroft's Talon that doesn't get talked about quite as much, and that's where when you fall below a certain threshold, as you get lower, it's not even a certain threshold, as you get lower, then you get more power and more lifesteal. You can get up to 200 magical power from this item when at 25% or lower health. So if Deathwalker's in the cage and is getting lower, every ghost that comes out is dealing subsequently more damage. Maybe you can try and turn and burn.
Very possible. We've seen it from time to time. As long as he has the protections, that's all he really needs, especially before some of these damaging items come out of Faeles, as he's finished off the Traveler Shoes first. Not really interested in going for the Warrior Tabi quite yet. Instead, would rather be able to ping-pong between camp and get a little bit of that HP 5.
Surprise, surprise, iceicebaby has already finished off his Golden Blade. No need for boots these days with Mercury, at least right away. May as well pick this up early on. I mean, Mercury was already good before Golden Blade made its return. But with this item, man, Merc he's so quick at clearing jungle camps. It gets to the point, level 7, level 8, where you don't even need to auto-attack an XP camp. You literally just throw your major look out there, and it kills it for you.
And you walk on by, and for 2,200 gold, this item is just so important, because you don't want to always invest into the Warrior Tabi or Ninja Tabi or whatever, because of the difference of movement speeds between 18 to 10% of this item is not that much, honestly, if you think about it, because of all the attack speed that you're getting. So you're only losing about, what, 15 power between this item and Warrior Tabi anyway, but you're also getting that 15% attack speed.
I am curious as to where Lawbster is going to be going with this build. We traditionally see a lot is hold that thought. iceicebaby was charging the ultimate. Kalas nearby. I'm kind of surprised they don't try and pick Lawbster in that spot. Maybe they had just seen Faeles walk on that bottom left side ward and didn't want Faeles blinking to initiate. Traditionally, Zeus in the Pro League is a little bit less damage, a little bit more bruiser style, because his base damage is so high he can get away with that sort of build path. But Lawbster going for a Book of Thoth this game, at least that's what it looks like by this Soul Book. Maybe rush a Book of the Dead alongside it to get some extra that health shield.
Oh yeah, definitely possible there, and we could potentially be seeing that. It's important to get some of these mana items online to be able to really start flexing that going forward, because you're going to be spending quite a few abilities when you have Ducky starting to rotate into some of these team fights. The Chain Lightnings on a rooted target, so simple to hit for Lawbster.
Doesn't need to worry too much about penetration, because if let's say Kalas or Deathwalker, your tanky targets on the enemy team, get locked in the ring, they're in there for so long that you don't really need the pen, right? Like, you're just hitting them so many times with Lightning Storm that they will likely die regardless. So I think that's why Lawbster decides to go for that option. On his right-hand side, Deathwalker, triple ults, get the job done, and importantly, Faeles holds on to the cage. So I said triple, I was kind of anticipating the ultimate from Faeles, but in fact, they only need 2. So SK put themselves on the board and punish this Zhong early.
Man, this Athena, Defender of Olympus Global Ultimate, makes it even more tricky to get away with a Bancroft's Talon Rush. I don't necessarily think, you know, a Warrior's Blessing or anything like that would have been able to really save Deathwalker at the end of the day, so I still don't mind this start. It did a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but it's only going to get even higher now that Penwitz is completed. I'm curious what this third item from Deathwalker is going to be. If he wants to go full utility, Gem of Isolation should be on the chopping block.
Kalas, no fear on the enemy red buff. Faeles, has the bird bomb. He's going to jump in, cages Kalas down. Lightning Storm comes through. Shell, no way to save Kalas there. That's how you draw it up if you're SK Gaming. Odin cage, Zeus ult, free kill. It's Kalas who falls. The rest of RivaL can't really assist. Are you surprised that Kalas goes Shell instead of Phantom?
Not really, because Lawbster's damage is quite high, honestly, and as much as you can get away from a cage, you're not necessarily going to be able to get away from Chain Lightning bounces in close quarter combat. So I respect the Shell, and if you were trying to absorb some of the basic attacks out of the Zeus as well, you could upgrade the Shell to be able to prevent that action from occurring.
Taunt on Devote, Pillar Impale good as well, but no ultimate committed by Funball. Well, allow Vote to get underneath the tower. Funball has rushed the boots, so does a considerable amount of damage, but hasn't started stacking quite yet, which is where he really wants to be. I gotta ask you, Toli, why do you think RivaL goes Zhong here? Because I'm not in love with the pick. It's last pick for RivaL. They know it's up against Odin. They know it's up against Terra, who, I mean, we saw over there, you don't even really need Faeles that often. If Ducky just roots Deathwalker, and then you guarantee an Athena ult on top of that, Deathwalker could die from that damage alone, as we'll get into in a minute. Faeles has to use the ultimate defensively this time around. Defender of Olympus there as well. Through space and time fired by Wlfy. Sonic Boom by iceicebaby. Nothing really hitting home for Team RivaL. Shell expended by SK, but
everyone
that's
survives.
just a security measure. Everyone from SK up and standing. A whole lot to do about nothing.
So just piggybacking on what you were asking about the Zhong into the draft against SK Gaming, simply because of the death ball idea that RivaL have with this mobility. You got Janus on Wlfy, Amaterasu for Faeles. That's going to allow Deathwalker to just keep moving forward without any real threat. I think that once the level 12 markers occur, 3 to 4 items available, Deathwalker's damage, you can't get away from it. Like, how are you going to outrun a Janus and an Amaterasu? And that's why he's going for Bancroft's talent, to just make sure that if he dies, he gets off maximum DPS.
Feels like RivaL was maybe a little bit worried about their magic physical split in the damage, and so they were really looking for some sort of magical damage out of that solo lane. But don't you think there are better, safer options than Zhong in that spot? Cerberus, I think, would be great. It gets out of Odin Cage. I think you've got options as for magical damage dealers in the solo that aren't quite so vulnerable. Only one death through the first 11 minutes or nearly so not too bad. But, I mean, look at how far forward Deathwalker's pushed up. It feels a little bit more interested in where Ice and Wlfy are around this mid lane. Kalas committing onto Lawbster. That'll cost Lob that lightning storm. He's doing great damage to Kalas, but Ice comes around the back and cleans up what Kalas started. Ring dropped by Faeles. Portal there from Wlfy, not very helpful, and it's a 1-for-1. Kalas for Lawbster. RivaL probably pleased.
Oh, absolutely. Allows Wlfy to just keep getting experience. Already has a 1-level lead, looking to stretch it up to 2. As Funballer going to prevent the rotation from Vote. Surprised to see even Funballer make that rotation, considering he's a little bit lesser experienced department. iceicebaby might get this kill.
Portal there as well. That'll keep the CC chain going, but not quite enough damage yet until Through Space and Time comes through and flattens HalfDevil. RivaL even it up 3-3, and Wlfy having himself a game so far, 2-0 in the mid.
And also off camera, Deathwalker able to get that solo tier 1 tower, just being able to be that bully against Ducky's Terra without anyone from really being able to keep the Zhong in check.
Whoa, Lawbster doesn't have his beads, but made you look misses. Wlfy shotgun down Lawbster. He just wanted to be 3-0.
Okay.
That's all it's about.
Man, give some to iceicebaby.
Ice is doing just fine for himself, 1-0-2 so far. Kalas locked in, but Impale misses from Funball. Taunt straight into Desert's Fury, but not quite enough damage. In fact, it's Funball who's got to get on the retreat. Ricochet from Vote was optimistic and didn't find a home. Bunch of ultimates exchanged on the left-hand side. 4 in total for 0 kills.
Kalas has no fear whatsoever. Still ulting on top of Anhur with like about 25% health. Wants to force out that jump and getting the Oni Hunter garb as well with some of the recent changes to this item. Just getting 3% damage mitigation for up to 3 stacks. So 6% damage mitigation, not that much currently. So I'm surprised to see this picked up so early in the game, only 12 minutes in.
It's just 1,900 gold.
True.
That's the thing. I mean, the stats on it are good enough, but you're really looking at it for that option of being very, very cheap.
Look at all that damage. 123 per shot.
It's pretty good.
Only 2
and here
and
comes
a half items deep.
Here comes Faeles on the left-hand side. Purple buff is being done by RivaL, and surprise, surprise, Faeles drops the ring, and Kalas dies. That's been a theme so far for SK Gaming. 2-0-2 for Faeles, and he's done good work so far. Every cage has been impactful. But have there been enough cages? I mean, is this enough of a lead for him and the rest of SK to warrant this Odin pick so far?
Not at all, because it's RivaL with the goal lead. It's RivaL getting the towers. Tier 1 mid falls after the one in the solo lane. Fails without the cage, but still looking to damage. Good juke from iceicebaby. Will have to use that ultimate defensively with HalfDevil about to cut off the northern escape.
Great escape. Great patience by Ice, because he not only jukes the bird bomb beautifully, but then holds on to the sonic boom because Ducky was about to face plant him in to that crushing wall, but again, Ice able to wiggle out of there, and he's finished off his Poison Star. So lots of different Mercury builds in the meta right now. If your name's Captain Twig, you like to go tanky and kind of bruiser-like. Deathwalker trying to take a 2v1 on this right-hand side, and certainly dealing the majority of the damage, but not enough to get the kill, just enough to force HalfDevil and Ducky back. Looks like Ice may be committing to the old-school Merc build, which is all damage all the time.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind this, especially when they're going for objectives like this. Gold Fury not started, but it's the Pyromancer on the right being flirted with on RivaL side. Maybe they're trying to bait out Faeles. He's the lonely SK member. As he drops a ward, walks away. Doesn't want any shenanigans occurring from the black and purple jerseys.
Kala's still only level 11, so no chance to use Phantom yet for him. You got there's no way he doesn't pick up Phantom at 12, right?
Oh, absolutely not. He has to pick up the Phantom at level 12. A little surprised, honestly, that the Phantom wasn't picked up at level 1, but respecting more of the Zeus damage than respecting the cages is the idea out of Callus. So you can't really fault him for that. But with that said, he needs to be warding a little bit deeper to see where Faeles is coming to avoid him, because those cages are certainly very fruitful. 2-0-2, a part of 100% of the kills is Faeles.
Lawbster uses the beads, drops the damage onto Wlfy, and it's great damage, but not enough to get the kill. Ice can't quite finish him, and he runs straight into the wall, dropped by Faeles. Lawbster separated, and Ice falls. Great cage from Faeles.
Wow, just stopping the sonic boom right in its tracks. Faeles is all over the place, and look at that build with the Jotun's Wrath under his own tier 1 tower. Funballer is going to get silenced out, and he's going to fall.
I like the idea. Execution, not quite as much. Horrific emblem used onto Deathwalker. Through space and time comes through as an exit out, but it's Faeles who's actually the one in trouble. Gets his shield up in time, but Wlfy might be able to keep this chase going. Uses the geometry to his advantage. Waits out the shell, but can't quite find that unstable vortex.
Oh, the car not in range. How unfortunate. Faeles a little bit too slippery. Those Talaria boots able to get him out of that one.
Again, going back to Funball's play on that left-hand side, he's looking to jump up and over the Dazzling Offensive and then impale Kalas back underneath the tower. But even in that situation, Toli, he's dead to vote in that spot. Is that worth it if he gets the kill onto Kalas in that spot?
No, not really, honestly. Unless he's fearful that he's going to lose his tier 1 tower because he has to back, so he might as well at least kill one player in the process. It's not as though RivaL get any objective from the death, because Funballers has already respawned, and RivaL sneaking one away.
SK was aware, but unable to contest. They had ward vision, and back timing's a little bit off. I mentioned that Lawbster might be going for some sort of defensive option, and indeed he does. It's the winged blade for him, really trying to immune those slows. Blink forward by iceicebaby, looking for Funball. Funball's ultimate back up and available, but he's already down below half. Great sonic boom right through. Ice gets one. Lawbster shows up, drops that lightning storm, but everyone's out of range. Vote has to use the Aegis and should fall to the eventual detonate, but Ducky's able to get in there and clean that up. Ice falls to Lawbster, and SK defend nicely. Kalas could be next.
Oh, look at Wlfy, though! Trying to get the ultimate off. Clips HalfDevil, but not able to take out Lawbster. Uses the portal back into safety, but I think he's going to look for the cleanup.
Could be, but it's risky. HalfDevil gets the back off. Lawbster still under the protection of Ducky. Even though Wlfy doesn't find the kill, the protection of Kalas in that spot, really, really well done.
Oh, absolutely there, and so unfortunate there for RivaL to find one kill onto Funballer, but then gives up 2 in the process. Just taking a little bit too long because of that Defender of Olympus, giving more defensive damage mitigation onto Funballer.
Check out that team fight recap. Gold basically the same after that engagement, but XP pretty significantly in SK's favor, and XP is something that they desperately need, particularly for Lawbster, who's down 3 levels to Wlfy. It started out not so great by getting soloed wave 1. It hasn't gotten a whole lot better. Does find a kill so far, but still 3 levels down.
Well, at this point, if they could just lock down Wlfy somehow, because still, Callus has yet to pick up a second relic, despite being level 14. A little surprising to me.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's going to be important to see how they can stop Wlfy, because that mobility is just so crucial for the rest of RivaL, between Amaterasu, between the Janus, and more importantly, the Zhong to complement.
Getting him in and out of danger, kind of portaling him in, acting as a pseudo blink at times. And it's also great against the Odin cage, because if Faeles doesn't find one right in the dead center of a lane, you can always Janus ult through it and give someone a way out without Phantom really being there. So right now, RivaL slightly in the lead, but it seems like SK is doing a pretty good job. The question is, how well does their composition really stack up as the game gets later?
We haven't really seen a jungle fight around the objective quite yet. The Wlfy was taken by RivaL when the rest of SK Gaming were still kind of coming back from the base. We saw how much damage how much damage Faeles took in that soul lane, so he had to back, and the rest of RivaL, without any hesitation, just raking in the gold.
Getting ready to get back into game here. Apologies for the slight delay, but we're right back into it. RivaL up more than it seems like, doesn't it? I mean, 5K is a pretty considerable lead at 18 minutes, but it doesn't feel that way.
They got 3 towers, granted, so that's 1,500 gold there. The Wlfy in itself was probably another 1,000, so that extra 2,500 gold was off of either just straight up farming, because RivaL are behind in the kill department.
The problem with getting your tier 1 tower gone this quickly in the game, especially as a character like Zeus, is that you can't effectively farm anymore. And it's just really highlighting the problem of the XP differential between Wlfy and Lawbster so far. He can't get up to the wave. Even where he is right now is semi-risky with the type of ward vision and map control RivaL have. That's why Lawbster's not actually clearing the wave. He's letting the wave clear itself. He'll absorb that golden XP, but won't make the minions go up much further than they already are. RivaL looking to force a fight around this Pyromancer, trying to use that lead.
2-man card. Taken away at Faeles a little bit onto HalfDevil. iceicebaby looking for the Sonic Boom. You best believe he is looking for Lawbster, because my man has not had a pretty game. Having to go Wing Blade 3rd item on Zeus is not ideal.
Oh, through space and time committed from Wlfy, and here goes RivaL. They're looking right at Funballer, who gets away at low HP. Lawbster isolated and cut down. Cage comes down from Faeles, but it's too little too late. SK already decimated as RivaL just go from 0 to 100 just like that. Vote. Suns don't care where you are. He falls over the wall. RivaL get 2.
The all-in death ball. Janus through space and time. Amaterasu auras coming through in the clutch as Deathwalker is just raking in that player damage all the time.
Fire Giant will go down to RivaL. They get it just after 20 minutes. And now it feels like a big lead for Team RivaL. I think the kill count being so close was pretty deceptive. The fact that SK was getting kills in all these engagements, but you're right, RivaL was always getting something besides just the kills. And there they get the big thing just after those kills. Let's take a look at that fight again, because it all happened so quickly. RivaL seemed to just dominate it from the very get-go. Look at the group up here.
Oh, absolutely. I thought that iceicebaby was going to be the one engaging it, but no. It was actually going to be Wlfy in the mid lane. Deathwalker goes through the portals, uses the Amaterasu aura, and even Amaterasu for Callus was able to use that dazzling offensive to create the chaos and the havoc. SK Gaming, they don't really have the greatest sustain. It's the Terra monolith, and you have to be stationary for that, but you don't want to be stationary against the Zhong with all those ghosts flying around.
Not a lot of anti-heal here for RivaL yet, and they frankly haven't needed it because they've insta-killed almost everyone they've looked at. The burst damage is really there, and Ice has continued to commit to the full burst damage build. Full crit in the jungle here for the Mercury.
And honestly, with Faeles going Horrific Emblem, I love this pickup, but he needs to upgrade it, honestly. That 500 gold is going to go a long way in terms of shutting down the damage from Deathwalker, from iceicebaby, some of the attack speed from iceicebaby as well. So effectively, if that doesn't get picked up soon in the next team fight, I don't see a realistic scenario where RivaL don't get these tier 2 towers.
Do you even defend tier 2s here, though, as SK? I mean, you're already down 10K. What's another 3?
It's possible. It's possible that they could defend, honestly, because the way Faeles has been playing it earlier on, Phantom still is not available for another 15 seconds. If all of SK Gaming were present, at least in the tier 2 mid tower, Faeles catches out the Janus Zhong combination before Callus is even present.
No tier 2 defense by SK. They decide to turtle up underneath the Phoenix, and RivaL will give them a moment to catch their breath. It's really not out of kindness of their own heart, though. They are backing to spend the exorbitant amount of gold
Oh, yeah.
they just received. But Ice Ice is here all alone, realizes his mistake, beads, and see ya later. The speed buff green.
Oh, through space and time. Let's see how much damage this does.
A lot. Nearly one-shot Funball.
80% of his health. I knew that wasn't going to kill him, but I'm like, this is going to be cute.
Yeah, that was a lot.
That's a little
roughly 1,500.
Little DPS check.
Yeah, but the problem is Wlfy can't even see how much damage he did. He just, I mean, he sees the numbers, but he doesn't know how low Funball is.
He can assume he's in the red.
He knows that he did roughly carry the one, a lot.
I think he did. How much health does Funballer have total? I want to see his max.
It's like 1840 or something like that.
At level 18 on her.
Yeah. 1860.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty good. So he was probably sitting about, what, 200 health there? So that was a 1,600 damage ult.
We like that.
Wlfy's certainly liking that.
We like that a lot. We don't like the lack of pen on Lawbster. No chance for him to really kill Kalas in this fight at all. Who is the guy who's going to kill Kalas? Because, I mean, Funball's level 18, sure, but all he's got is an Executioner and the Ichabal as far as pen goes.
A lot of that comes down to going for that defensive option. When you're pressured that much in the early game, your whole mindset changes to like, okay, I just gotta not die here. You don't even think about blowing up some of these tanky targets, which is a weird way of going against the whole role that you're playing in the first place.
Normally you see the Assassin towards the mid lane and try and split it, but this time it's Wlfy because on the left-hand side, RivaL is getting engaged upon. Vote very low, but portaled out by Wlfy perfectly. Deathwalker left potentially for dead. He's still up and standing though. Faeles can't get it, but Lawbster can from a distance with the detonate. SK able to form the defense.
Where's iceicebaby? The whole time he was on the right side of the map trying to split push, and SK Gaming, no hesitation, abusing that factor. Fire Giant, no Fire Giant, doesn't even matter. 5-on-4 is going to be a 5-on-4.
Fire Giant has fallen off of Team RivaL, so they will back it up. No damage done to that left side Phoenix, which is where the majority of RivaL was attempting. Sonic Boom is basically a semi-global, right?
Sure.
I mean, you need line of sight, which makes it significantly worse than a lot of other semi-globals, but
he was on the right side of the map, not even towards the mid lane.
Well, if you saw his angle, if you come down underneath that right side Phoenix or in between those two little walls, you can actually get right behind the left side Phoenix pretty easily. Yeah, Doug beautifully highlighting it there. Doug nearly did that to the pros during the skill shot versus pros game, but decided to play raw and snipe them instead.
Ah, fair enough, yeah.
Yeah,
a lot safer. Not putting yourself out of position. But, I mean, when you're going behind the right side Phoenix, how much damage are you taking? Like, you're going to have to special delivery through the damage of the Phoenix potentially, and that's not even worth it at the end of the day. And when not when any team has a lead, such as RivaL against SK Gaming, there's no reason to split push. You might as well just be able to group up as a unit to get the kills, because without iceicebaby's DPS, SK Gaming are free to do what they please.
This Fire Giant, a little bit more valuable than the last. It's post 25 minutes and a fire has already fallen, so that means this one is Enhanced Fire Giant. Nice. I really like putting a lot of emphasis on that. I think it's
Enhanced.
That's right. It's serious business when you get a post 25-minute fire and it's not the first one to fall in the game. Gives you more power, more objective damage in particular. That's where it really boosts up. So that means the siege for SK is harder to defend. HalfDevil needs to use that ultimate and still nearly dies.
Took a little bit of damage there, and that was in the process of, what, 2 to 2.5 seconds of channeling. So this next team fight is not going to be pretty for HalfDevil. Mark of the Golden Crow this late from Vote's build. Basically full build. Plenty of penetration to speak about. Plenty of physical power with that Transcendence. I don't have much hopes for HalfDevil once he dashes in.
This is an interesting no lifesteal build from Vote, though. I mean, if you would just cut out the build and say, which character is Vote playing, Hu Yi is not high on that list of gods that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Neith, Medusa, Chiron, these more ability-based hunters. I don't really class Hu Yi in that same category.
I mean, the Suns hurt a lot.
They do.
And a Ricochet that can hit twice, hit 3 times even, got to be respected at the end of the day. So I see where he's coming from, especially with the draft from RivaL. The idea is that the Zhong is going to be taking all this damage anyway. So if he ever does get put in a position where he's taken all that damage, he's done something wrong with the dive bomb still available. And if you look at the scaling from some of the abilities, like Ricochet has 65% scaling. You hit that a couple of times, you're looking at a lot of damage. 25% scaling on the ultimate. That ticks 9 times. So you're looking at 175% on that one. Or sorry, 225% on that one.
That's a pretty big number. It's pretty big. Not often you get to see 9 suns hit the same target, but on objectives, you certainly can. Kalas dashes in, looks for Lawbster, switches his target to Funball. That'll force his jump away. Vote on that backside under siege, but iceicebaby moving around, big crit right onto Lawbster, but he gets pinned up against the wall perfectly by Funball, who gets him from a distance with the Desert's Fury through space and time. Not there to assist as RivaL again lose outnumbered.
It's time to stop if you're RivaL with the split push shenanigans. I get it. Janus through space and time from the right to the left side, but it's too late at that point. A RivaL forced the issue on the left. Wlfy hesitates a little bit too long. It does distract Faeles. He wasn't present either, but it was a 4-on-4 where iceicebaby was just a little overzealous.
RivaL doesn't seem ready to give up entirely just yet.
Still got Fire Giant.
Still sticking around. They've got Fire Giant for about a minute, but Ice isn't respawning for another 15 plus. It's a good poke on a Funball there, and Faeles gonna go right away. No Phantom, or no, excuse me, Phantom is up for Kalas. Deathwalker now the focus from SK. Not a lot of damage onto him yet. In fact, it's RivaL turning it around. Funball's got to use the beads. Fails very, very low. A double portal from Wlfy does some good work through space and time. Clips the half of HalfDevil. This might open up the Phoenix enough. SK take it to RivaL, and Wlfy just eliminated Ducky very quickly, kind of out of nowhere.
Oh, Faeles is back in very healthy as well. RivaL the opposite of healthy. Here comes Deathwalker with the ghost, and it's a full retreat out of SK.
Lawbster has the detonate, and he gets it done onto Vote. Left side Phoenix still up. Now Ice is here and has the ultimate. You see the pings coming from SK to try and alert them of where the angle could be coming from. Ice trying to split this mid Phoenix, but with Faeles here, I don't know that he can get this.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure how Faeles can do this, because what RivaL is doing in mid, they're also doing on the left side. Lawbster comes back very healthy, and no Phoenixes to speak about, despite having the enhanced Fire Giant.
I'm starting to agree with you, Tole. These sieges, look, sieging is hard in Season 5. I get it.
They're making it way harder than it really is, though.
Right. I mean, if you're just sending, just send your Janus with the bulk of your team. A 4-on-5 is much, much easier to win with a lead like this than a 3-on-5.
So the common theme of these fail sieges is whether it was iceicebaby or Wlfy, the 4-1 split was not between left and middle. It was between left and the right side of the map, making it even harder and like a little bit longer to get back into that Phoenix siege.
It's almost been more like a 3-1-1 split. I mean, Wlfy has been in mid the majority of the time. At least he was the first time. That time he was on the far right.
Yep.
Then iceicebaby comes in, but it's around the back, and he gets just outplayed by Funball, who plays the fight nearly perfectly underneath that left side Phoenix. So I think it's not just RivaL making mistakes. I think SK's done a really good job of playing around what RivaL's throwing at them. SK's fatal mistake in that last engagement was not letting RivaL just sit there as 4-on-5. They try and force that, and they end up losing it.
Yep.
Not super hard, but they don't really win it either.
Yeah, outside the Phoenix fights are not SK Gaming's favor. They need that extra 6th player, because they're still down considerable amount of gold, 22,000. To be exact, at 31 minutes. This is where 3K potions are going to start to show its ugly head, and RivaL are still in a position to win this game out. The penetration is finally available now for Lawbster with the Obsidian Shard, and he's getting that 5th item soon.
Getting there close, but their 6th item still a little bit behind, and as you mentioned, 3Ks are starting to come from RivaL.
Yep. It's
difficult to fight up against a 3K pot with only 5 items there. We'll see if SK can do it as we're ready to get back in game after another short pause. Feels like RivaL might try and end it right here. They are all 6-slotted and have been for quite some time.
It's time for them to just group up. It's time for the split push shenanigans to stop entirely. It's still a kill department for SK Gaming's favor. They just can't get any objectives. They can't safely leave their base any longer because of all this damage. You get caught out by iceicebaby, you're asking for a bad time.
Funball has picked up a Poison Star, along to go with a Deathbringer. So my man's is
critting.
If he rolls well enough, what is that, 40%?
40 plus, is that total?
It's yeah, total. 20% from Deathbringer, and I believe it's 20% on Poison Star. It might be 15, actually, on Poison Star. 20%, 20%. Yeah,
okay.
so it is 40% there for Funball in particular. iceicebaby is nearing 100% at this rate.
Isn't there a cap? Or no?
No,
maybe
there
not.
isn't. Lawbster has to use a purification bead. Left side Phoenix again. The attempt through space and time again. Not there for Wlfy as Deathwalker getting very low. Aegis buys him a moment. Desert Fury gets it done onto Kalos, but Funball is going to up down. Great beads from iceicebaby. Secures it. It's a double for iceicebaby. Vote was able to clean up Kalos, or Faeles as well. Excuse me. Ducky falls to Wlfy, and the third time is indeed the charm. Double for Wlfy, double for Ice, one for Vote. Game 1 for Team RivaL.
Finally, the third time is the charm indeed. 33 minutes of play, 15 kills to 12. Before that siege, it was SK Gaming actually 11 kills to 10. Doing a good job holding the first 2 times, but that 22,000 gold lead showing its ugly head after that first blood onto Lawbster. He was just behind the whole entire game.
That's what I mean, SK had their moments. They took some decent fights. I do think I'd like to see Faeles be a little bit more aggressive with the cage whenever you see no Phantom on the other side pre-12. But overall, it felt like SK had the tools. They just fell steadily behind, weren't able to keep up in kills and the map. They had to kind of choose one, and they went with the kills, and they ultimately lose.
Well, they got 1 kill onto Deathwalker. They found another kill onto Callus that was at his own purple buff. There could have definitely been more tactics about trying to shut down Deathwalker's Zhong, considering he did rush that Bancroft's talent.
Right.
He didn't really have that much health or protections to really speak about, and when you have an Athena on your side with Defender of Olympus, it kind of questions me the fact that Deathwalker was even able to take that tier 1 tower to begin with.
I think SK was really worried about the Gold Fury that RivaL could have pulled, but when you have Lightning Storm and Desert's Fury, 2 great contest tools on the left-hand side, I think I don't mind an overcommit on a Deathwalker. Let's throw it to the death so they can discuss what they thought were the problems there for SK in Game 1.
Thank you so much, Aggro and Anatoly. Yeah, SK, in that game, it was actually pretty close for a quite considerable amount of time, 8-8 at certain points. Lawbster down at the start didn't help things off very well for SK at the beginning, but RivaL, you know, it wasn't clean cut at all.
A little bit of a doozy there for Lawbster for sure at level 1, but he definitely made sure to recover for it later on. Yeah. They just couldn't hold on at the very end there, but I think the big thing here was there was a lot of return or exchanges that kept taking place, where it would be 1 kill, for example, and then it would lead into the next one almost immediately after.
Hello? Yeah, I'm on air. No, I can't answer the phone right now. So, I was trying to cover for you.
Hey, it happens from time to time, but I think the one big thing, though, to keep in mind was that there were a lot of exchanges that just kept taking place frequently for both of these teams, in that RivaL would find a pick or SK would immediately return fire. I think the Odin also was one of the main reasons why RivaL kind of struggled a little bit throughout that early game.
Yeah, and that was an awkward situation then for SK. Although their defense at certain moments looked pretty solid and they held on a considerable amount, there's upsides for SK, but there's still plenty of downsides to go alongside it. Wlfy, though, will be the MVP for that game. The honest plays came through big throughout and set up nicely.
And I think that Wlfy as well is aware of exactly what he needed to accomplish in that match, because he started off really hot with that pick onto Lawbster, but then things kind of dissolved as the game went on. He couldn't always bail his teammates out every single time with that pull, and so I think that he just did a great job all around in terms of making sure that he could teleport people around as often as possible. Yeah,
but hunting down the kills as well towards the end of the game. As you can see by the scorecard at the end of the game, they're 14-12. Not a ridiculous amount of kills in this set whatsoever. It was a pretty balanced one in terms of that, of how things have worked out for these 2 teams.